business, I
Sorry.
I did not, I definitely did not have realistic expectations. I remember sitting on the other side of the desk and Tina saying, if you want to be successful in this business, expect to work 40 to 60 hours a day. A week, sorry, a week. It feels like I'm working 40. Yeah, I know. Everyone out. Actually, the truth is, I wish I was only working 40 to 60 hours a week. The truth is that in this business, I was not prepared for to have all the inconveniences that we're going to hit with this business. I wasn't. There's so many times now that I look back and I am inconvenienced. My day starts every day at 6:30. My alarm goes off. I have my morning routine. I do not miss my morning routine. So after that, it's structure. It's get to my day. Every day does look a little different depending on if we have masterminds, if we have team meetings. But the truth is that I probably don't stop. I hate to say it, but probably till about 11 o'clock at night. And it is continual follow-ups in the evenings. When I hear people say, oh, I'm gonna have 2 days off a week, you're not going to be able to sell 40 to 50 homes with 2 days off a week. So I would say be prepared to be inconvenienced. If you have a goal to be selling over 50 homes, it is a lot of work. You're going to be writing contracts in your car. I've missed tennis tournaments for my kids. I've missed family dinners. Those are all the inconveniences, but the reward now, the difference is the mindset. Sorry, I'm not getting choked up. I just swallowed it. That was not what I said. I'm not. I just totally swallowed it. I don't know. Brandon, quit calling.
No, it's.
I couldn't find it. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm not. So I don't even know where we got, but be prepared to be inconvenienced in this business, because it's not going to be easy. So Brandon's already got his hand up. Okay, go for it, Brandon. Okay.
What you said with the two, like the people that say 2 days a week off or whatever, there's those gurus are split. So there are some gurus that say you can still design your business around the life that you want, and you can still be successful by leveraging this, or you're going to burn out. So how do you separate, or how do you identify, like, oh, I am going too fast right now, I need to kind of, because you're big on that morning routine, is that your step back? Or are there?
I think that prepares me for the day. I'm always in that mindset. No matter what comes at me, I feel more prepared because I've had that for the day. So I do not compromise on that. The truth is that I'm so new to this that I quite haven't figured out that structure yet. Maybe as I become more skilled and have more of leverage, I will get to that point. But for right now, I haven't quite figured that out. I've got a lot on my plate. I'm going to be real. I've got a lot on my plate. And, Tina always asks us, she says, if you guys had a GoPro on you all day, like what would your clients think of you? And I think that my clients would be like, hell no, I would never do this, because I don't think they would realize the amount of time and what my day looks like. And I look at when she says that, and I think what she's asking us is, what are you guys doing when no one else is looking? And I think that's such a life lesson. It's not just in this business, but what are you doing? Like, are you willing to put in the work when no one else is watching? So.
What's your morning like? Is your morning routine? You mean just like, what do you do?
So I try to do 3 things a day. I feed my mind, body, and soul. So those are like my 3 things. How am I going to feed my mind, body, and soul to start the day? So my mind is usually a podcast. I've got 2 books going right now. So if I'm in the car, I also listen in the car. I've got a physical book that I read too. That isn't usually in the morning though. So I usually, in order to fit it all, I was trying to do the workout separately, but it was taking too much time. So a lot of times my workout in my morning, I take different days with my husband. So certain days are my day with the dog. Certain days are my gym day, so I get my weights in. So I have certain days in that structure, but yeah, I try to do those 3 things. And then I try to do, sometimes it's only 5 minutes of meditation because that's all I can fit in. And sometimes literally it's just breathing and taking a minute in the car. But if I can fit all those 3 things in, I will just be in a much better mindset to be prepared. I mean, you guys know, like when I first started, we didn't have all these Zillow calls and everything coming at us so fast. It is overwhelming. And if I don't have my head on straight, like they'll get lost, right? I'm sure you guys are feeling it too. So, I mean, what do you guys do?
Well, to follow that up, I mean, I have found that if I don't necessarily have like an everyday, like Minda May every morning, but I try to at least wake up and get organized and know what I'm doing, because if I start a day even and a half an hour behind, I'm scrambling all over the place and my whole day is off, right? So I think, I was actually just thinking yesterday, I'm like, man, breakfast has really gone out the window since like that's just, it does, between my 2 dogs, trying to figure out like this thing's blown up at 6:30 in the morning before I'm even awake and ready.
Oh, I don't touch my phone in the morning.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I can't. And I had to get rid of my Apple Watch last year because I would wake up in the middle of the night, like 3 in the morning, see all these texts from clients, and then I wouldn't be able to sleep. So I'd get rid of it. But as far as like how to manage my business, I mean, I was not organized at first. Things would come in, I would just leave them. I knew where they all were, but then when I would go look at my KV Core or, Zillow's constantly asking for an update, I would be so overwhelmed that they were asking for so many things. And I knew where everyone was, what everyone was doing, but I didn't even know how to sit down and organize it all, right? So this year, Stefano's brought on a showing assistant. I think you did too, right? So I brought on an assistant for my back end because I don't mind doing the day-to-day with the clients, right? But on the back end, yikes. And she has saved my life. She's up, she's like, hey, Zillow's done, this person, update this person. And also you have these 10 showings tomorrow, enjoy. So I think, kind of leveraging my time with her more organizing me and keeping me more on track has helped a lot. Yes.
So I have a question though, just because I know the answer to it, so I want to share the answer to it. So, you and Minda run your businesses very differently. It's gotten better because God bless your assistant. We love her. What's her name?
Iceland.
We all love Iceland.
She's great.
She is. But where you lacked in that part, you're a closer. So I think within a lot of your business last year was funds, if not most of it. Would you say 3/4 of your business, maybe?
I think half of it was.
Okay, half of it was funds.
Yeah.
Okay. So she sold 40 homes last year on our team, and that's with 20 of them were funds, right? 45, 40, 45. So how are you closing? Because you're a closer.
Yeah. I have found, and Brandon asked me the same question about Zillow Flex, right? How do I get them to meet me right away, and how do I think 3 weeks is the longest right now that I've had a Flex lead booking. So as soon as I get off the phone with them, I send them a follow-up text. I attach a digital business card with my picture on it, right? I have found that since I started doing that, not only do they recognize me when I meet them, if there's 50 people outside the house, but also they know that I'm a real person, right? And then I've also found that if I forget to do that, they'll take longer to reply, they'll, maybe cancel, whatever it is. They know I'm a real person. I try to kind of find out more before I get there. Are they pre-approved, right? Because we're not going to ask these questions on the phone. I try to find that out before I meet them. I try to find out kind of their timeline, everything so that we're not wasting that time in the house.
Do you call them or is that usually a text?
It depends. I'll
Yeah.
usually text them,
Mhm.
but,
Okay.
and then and that's kind of one thing when I was deciding, am I gonna bring on a showing assistant or am I going to bring on like a back end assistant, is that I felt that I could build a relationship with them so easily when I met with them, and I didn't want to then hand them off when I don't really know them yet to a showing assistant. So I just try to make, build a relationship quickly with them in these showings, because sometimes, I think I had 3 or 4 flex leads last year that offered on the first house that they saw and they got it. So how do you really build that much of a relationship with them? Also, I think these flex leads, most of them are really ready to go, and they also don't have any idea what's going on in this market.
And you're not doing buyer strategy sessions.
Not really.
Okay, so which is fine.
Yeah.
I want everyone to see, so
Yeah.
are you having that, what they haven't heard of the car kind of conversation? I feel like, are you being pretty succinct with them, whether there's 50 people around waiting to be in the house, or that they are, when does that conversation happen?
Usually if there's a lot of people in the house, not in the house, but I have found that so many people ask so many questions that it just kind of naturally, the whole process is laid out for them right there, right? And so, yeah, when we go outside, they'll ask questions. Okay, how does this work? Explain due diligence, whatever it is. And I don't even really know what the secret is. It just has happened that they just are so ready to build a relationship and get going. They've all heard the horror stories of what the market's like. They don't want to, be discouraged. They don't want to be looking for 6 months. And of course, that's not all of them. I have like 35 nurturers that are all just sitting there.
But you must be coming across with confidence. And I mean, your approach is, we do the same thing as far as soon as I get off the phone, within seconds, a minute, the response via text, and I always, get great feedback. Wow, that happened really fast. So I always attach my digital business card so they do have my face. A lot of times I'll even try to follow up with the video if there's going to be a delay, so that again, I'm trying to get in front of them, so that's where we're different. If I can't, I am definitely on the phone with them, back on a phone call to have that conversation, so I can get more kind of qualifying information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was reading Ninja Selling, you popped into my mind, because I think and I can remember doing this as a newer agent and really trying to not do it in any role, is that you allow people the space to talk. You're asking me questions because you're not going there. My name is Rachel. That's just not your personality. So I think you have this presence that allows people that space to ask questions, and then you're showing your value that way, right? So then just selling is they should be talking 80% of the time, you should be talking 20% of the time in any kind of situation. But that's the exact opposite of our listing presentation. We're talking the whole damn time, right? So how do we then pause and get them to talk to us without getting us off script? Same way with the buyer presentation on how we're having to work with our buyers. I feel that a strength of yours is that you create this space that people are like, okay, she's allowing me to ask her whatever question I need to go, and that's going to lead you to your relationship with them, and then you have the knowledge to be able to answer those questions. Would you agree with that? Okay.
Yeah. Because I don't like being pushy. I don't like being salesy, so that's kind of, I think, how that's naturally fallen into place. And then, like Minda said, the confidence. I noticed a huge thing last year, that when I finally felt like I knew what I was doing and I didn't have to just kind of figure it out as I went, you come off like the confidence you show makes them trust you immediately. And I don't know how to tell you how to get that. It just comes one day when you feel like the market, the area, what you're doing, how to build that relationship. That's definitely.
Because you plugged into the system. If you plug
Right.
into the system, it's going to come. All of a sudden, one day you'll just be saying stuff, and you're like, where the heck did that come from? If you plug in enough, you'll hear it enough and you'll find yourself repeating it almost verbatim.
Yeah, well, and I said too, that's a good point. I think when I was figuring all this out, right, I used to always say, this team gives you the tools. Literally every single one of them. I've been elsewhere. I don't know how it gets better than this. They give you everything. Just use it.
So true.
All right.
Definitely. She's my favorite up there, just in case you guys are wondering. So you are very different. You are the persistent. Is that the word to use,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I love it. No, I mean, I could have used even more of your persistence. So just kind of talk about a little bit of your, I think you're between Minda and Rachel on your schedule.
Yeah.
Right? I was thinking a little bit, just knowing your business and all the talks that we've had. So just kind of share what your schedule looks like a little bit and how you are able to be the top, convert 14% of your Zillow leads, basically.
Yeah, so I guess my schedule is a little bit different than theirs because I'm not a morning person at all. So I plan, organize my day at night for the following day. That's what I'm trying to say. And so, yeah, I plan out what I'm gonna get done. And I mean, I'm not like a morning person, but I will be up by, 7:30. So I don't get up like super early and have like morning routine. I mean, I'll listen to like a podcast or like some music to get me energized and ready to hit the phones and be in a positive mood, that sort of thing. But yeah, really from like 9 until 11, I'm prospecting or following up with my leads and calling them. And also, I guess going back to the nighttime, I like search the MLS for all the houses. I take screenshots of everything that I'm gonna send to my clients in the morning, so I'm not hitting them up at 11 o'clock at night when I'm working. So I'm like ready to go as soon as I wake up in the morning. And then, what am I supposed to talk about now? So I guess after 11, I'm just, doing whatever my clients need from me, or showing houses, or just continuing to follow up. I mean, the follow-up is like the most important thing, and staying top of mind. A thing that I think I've probably said it to Mackenzie all the time is our clients or customers, leads, whatever they are, they're not as obsessed with real estate as we are. So as many times as we send them homes and follow up with them, they're not always thinking about that house that we're thinking about for them. And so I'll call people, I mean, I'll do the 10 days of pain or whatever it's called, but if I've called them, whatever it's called, 10 days of just calling, yeah, the 10-day blitz, whatever it's called.
I've never asked you.
You never invited that.
Should I read that? So I call, like, if they haven't answered me, I will reach out every single day for 10 days. And even I've had people that will answer on the 8th day and they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I just never got back to you. I was busy. And so like, I've seen that come to fruition as a client. Yes.
So from that, what you guys need to understand is, again, because we've had many conversations about all this, is he is so good at not making it about him. He's literally like, this is Stefano. Oh, you're not gonna call me back? Good, I'm gonna call you again. Like it becomes a game, right?
Yeah.
There's nobody on this team that I have worked with that's so good about completely separating himself from the situation, from the outcome. And I don't know if it's because you started as an ISA in another team that really probably has a lot to do with it, right? But you do such a good job of, this is what your job is. You're prospecting from 9 to 11, and it's my KB course on that I'm supposed to call this person today in my 10 days of me. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna move on.
I like that.
No, we like the 10-day blast, what we like. So that's where he does such a really, really good job. So if we're all doing it, we're like, oh, it's this whole thing that we're doing. So I think that's something that we can learn from you, Stefano, is that this is what my schedule says, and I'm supposed to do and I'm gonna do it regardless of how I'm feeling about it.
Yeah.
Because this is what, again, to their point, they're not as interested in my paycheck as I am, right? Or what this is all gonna work out.
I think that's very, I mean, I haven't gotten to that point to be able to do that, but I was thinking about it this morning. I keep getting these texts from the hospital after that accident about, we don't have your insurance, blah, blah, right? They text me every like 2 days. And this morning I finally was like, it's in court, like, leave me alone. And I have went back and looked, I have like 9 messages from them that are the same thing. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, look, here I am finally replying. It's like, these clients of ours have other things in their life going on than.
Yeah.
So true.
How often are people telling you, please stop contacting me?
I guess like every now and then, or it's just like I'm not ready to buy, and then
Yeah.
I give them the whole spiel and educate them on waiting and how dumb that is.
You're dumb.
Yeah, a little bit softer. But I guess for like Zillow Flex leads, kind of what you were saying, I do just like listen to them and I make conversation in the house and kind of forward them as we've talked about. And then as soon as we get outside the house, or like, that's when I'll kind of, like, I don't do buyer consultations like what Minda does at all. I have my first strategy session meeting, or wealth building and real estate, whatever Tina called it, tomorrow, because I finally set one. But yeah,
Meaningful conversation.
my first painful buyer consultations tomorrow morning, so it won't be at a house. But yeah, usually I just like hit them with like, what are your 5 like must-haves as soon as we get outside the house, if this is the house for them. And what I bring to my first meeting with the Zillow Flex leads is our buyer packets. I print out the comps of the area, I print out the disclosures, and I print out other similar homes in the area, so we instantly provide value and show them that we're not just the door opener for this one house. I can show you these other houses right now, and here's all the answers to your questions about what the age of the roof is or the age factor. So you're not just like, oh, I don't know, I'll find out. So you have it all instantly right there, and you seem super knowledgeable. So that's kind of what I do with the Zillow Flex leads.
Yeah, and I think too, like we were talking about last week, right? Like, you never want to leave your first showing as the awkward, like, okay, see you later. And then you never, right? Like, you want to have at least some kind of meaningful conversation, whether it's about that house or whatever it is. Because that's just awkward. Nobody wants to do that. And then they're probably never going to call you again, and they're not going to answer.
Well, I think that that's how you're, like, that's where somehow you guys are getting the same results too, but that's where I'm finding the buyer strategy session kind of takes that awkwardness out of it, because you already have the next steps. I'm not as laid back with them. I'm more of a driver. So I don't even want to waste time to go to the house if they're not even being realistic, or they're, I had one that her husband just started a business and they could not afford a house just on her income. For me, just having a conversation, she's got to have 2 years of taxes. We had no business looking at houses. So, well, that's great. And I'm sure I could have shown him a house and had that conversation. I'm more of a driver and looking for more time and efficiency. That's just more how I do it. So like for me, I'm trying to avoid that. But I do find that the awkwardness is a little bit out of it. If you've already had either some type of conversation, text or something with that. I also always try to send those disclosures prior to us being there. That way I'm not printing out paper. That way it puts a little ownership on them to read through, right? Oh, Minda, I know you said that to me. They already know about the roof, the HVAC. So I think that's just, how are we going to add value before we even meet them?
Good question for Minda. So when you get a Zillow Flex lead and they say, okay, I saw this house on 123 Main Street, I really want to see it. Can you see it today? Do you basically say, no, let's just get together, or do you say, yes, let's get together first and have a buyer strategy session or
It's
talk?
ALM on that first
Okay,
call.
or go with the appointment.
I set that appointment. There are no questions being
So you
asked on
take
that
them to
first
see
call.
the house and then you say, we're gonna meet and let's sit down and talk about how we're gonna move forward, or,
Remember, with ALM, I'm setting the appointment.
right?
I've got a day and a time to set with them, and I will be getting back in touch with them to confirm the appointment.
Correct.
When I get back in touch to confirm with them, you guys sound like texters. I'm a I'm gonna get on the phone.
So,
I get back on the phone with
Well,
them.
that's why this is really good. though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I get back on the phone with them and that's when I can, well, whether the house is contingent, whether the house is already under contract or what, I can start asking some of those questions. And I don't just ask, are you pre-approved? Hey, is this your first time looking at a house? Have you seen other houses? There are ways to, not be so forceful, to just
Yes.
ask, where are you at in the process? Is this the first time you've called in? So,
have you
know,
ever
I
bought a
can-
house in North Carolina?
Yeah.
Because it's very different.
so I think that's where you guys are finding, if you just kind of open the door a little bit, they're ready to give you information. A lot of times they don't even have to ask. I'm calling them back to say, give them information on the house that they were calling about, and then let's find out where they're at.
So that's kind of your mini strategy session. You do it on the phone. You don't necessarily say, you know what I mean? Like after we meet and show the house and they say, well, I don't like this house, but I want to look at some other homes. Do you then just kind of talk to them face to face, or do you have them come back to the office?
That's where I'm trying to set. If they're
Okay.
ready to go, I'm trying to set those buyer strategy sessions.
Got
So
it.
that we can just, I make it more about, like, let's say the house is, under contract. I say, oh, I'm sure this is frustrating. It sounds like this was a really good fit for you. I find it helpful to meet with clients for a quick 15-minute Zoom call so we can discuss next steps so that we're not in this situation again and we don't miss out on another opportunity for another house.
It's not about her saving her time, it's about her providing value and service to them.
Right. So how can we not miss out on another house that comes up? Like, let's make sure that we're going to have our ducks in a row so that we can set you up for success. So this doesn't happen again.
So what questions do you guys have for that, really? Like, think about- Travis.
I like in the last 2 years, my mornings, I cherish my mornings. I get really early. And most of it is personal time, especially now we have a baby. Suzanne sleeps until 7. So that's my time, right? And I'm not always great about breakfast, but I find that now I feel like I also need a nightly routine because I would just crash at the end of the day, right? I used to do this brain dump, in a pad on paper or in my notepad, just what I have to do tomorrow, so I could just stress and sleep because, like you said, I would keep my phone in my room because it lights up, sort of kind of lights up in the morning, but I will be up at 4 in the morning, just thinking about some abstract version of some deal that I have going on. I didn't know if you guys have something that guys with at night or.
I, unlike Minda, cannot, for the life of me, get myself to the gym in the morning, right? So if I go at the end of the day, I'm not gonna go at 8 p.m. If I go at 6, right? And that used to be my schedule completely, and that's gotten thrown off. But if I can stay in that at the end of the day, go to the gym, it's my hour where I don't have to think, I don't have to answer my phone, nothing, right? And then go home, make dinner, finish up whatever work I need to do that night, and then I can mentally shut it down.
Trevor, I was a huge morning person, working out, and I have now switched to the afternoon because I find every morning routine and my working out, and it has been that break.
I usually do 5:30 when I get a workout class, but at night, I go home and then I get right back into it. All the things, and then
Look up.
It kind of energizes me. I work out, I get a break, I don't like that. Just lines here,
Poor
so-
Mike.
I come home and do it.
That's nice.
And then I need to take a break, whatever, and then I'm kind of okay, now I can tackle. So I'm learning, I'll get an email yeah, I'm not gonna respond to that one right now, it's not gonna go well, so I'm gonna go work out, and then I'm gonna have just separated myself from it, so. And then I used to, instead of passing out, I would make myself I had to brain dump, because I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, go to the bathroom again.
oh yeah, exactly, yeah.
So when I would write it down, or I have a piece of paper next to my bed, and I would just, sometimes I can't even read it, but my brain tells me I'm letting it out. I'll wake
Yeah.
up and sometimes I wake up and don't even remember what was, but it allows me to go back to bed, so.
There's a really, if you guys Google it, I can't remember if it was a book or a podcast, but it's on sleep chronotypes. Have you guys heard about that? So I think what's interesting is we can all have it, but it doesn't have to be the same. Like mine is very different than yours and Stephanos. And the chronotypes basically just say that they characterize them into animals. So it's like the lions, the bears, the dolphins, we all have different chronotypes, right? And it basically just says, when do you guys get your most energy? And you're born with it. So you're born with these chronotypes. And when you try to fight it and fight your natural, I guess, your natural energy and sleep time, when you try to fight it, it will only last for a little bit, and then you'll find that you're off the wagon, right? So if you read and try to figure out, like, you are not a morning person. I'm not a Mackenzie at 5 o'clock. I'm not, but I can get up and get ready and be ready to go. So I think if we're all not going to be that 7, 8 o'clock or whatever it is, but if you can find out what your natural inclination is and where and when you get the most energy, you can make it work, but you have to be consistent with it, and you have to be consistent. So you guys should figure out 80% of us are bears, and that's like kind of the 9 to 5 schedule. But there are a lot of us that aren't, or maybe a little combination. And when you guys can figure out what that is and be consistent with it, like Mackenzie's saying, she used to have something that worked really well, but maybe she was fighting that and it wasn't her natural, chronotype. I think that you can figure out what works for you. But the one thing I'm hearing is it's consistency, right? Like with that. So
Any other questions?
Question. So everybody has an assistant, right? Where did you get your assistant?
From the team.
Okay, so are assistants also licensed?
Like Rachel, is your assistant licensed? How did you find them through Caul Group?
No, I knew her, but and what I pictured working best for me was someone that was like a stay-at-home mom or that worked part-time that could always be available for me, but I didn't need her to sit there 9 to 5, right? She's not licensed, but she doesn't really do anything for me. That
She just keeps you organized.
Yeah. And
Do you just text her notes?
Yeah.
To put in for you?
yeah, and I'll be like, hey, if I'm driving and I have 5 clients text me a house they want to go see, or they want comps or whatever it is, I can ask her to do that for me.
She'll pull it up, run comps for you.
Yeah, so I was also finding that like when I was driving would be when I would remember the need to do things, and then as soon as I got wherever I
Like a
was going, I
downtime.
would forget about it.
Yeah.
So that's taking care of that.
If she's going to Paragon, besides that, we just need to write and get her complete unlicensed person in Paragon. If you can write that down, it's right here. Nothing wrong. It's just reminding me. I'm giving you a real estate deal. That's all. That's my job. Yeah.
you like your license.
My name's whoever has this conference.
Well, and I mean, everything she does like that for me, I always check, but it just at least does the initial task.
So after you initially meet them, how are you making sure you're gonna see them again? Because I know I got really good at my ALM and really good at meeting them for the first time, but then that was kind of where, when I stopped selling, was about the part I struggled with. So what do you do to make sure to continue that relationship?
Follow-up.
Yeah.
It's the follow-up. I mean, it's where they're at. Was it they're ready to make an offer, but it wasn't just that house. So then I'm sending them houses. I mean, that's a lot of what my evening is going through when I'm updating, when they're asking us to update KV Core, it's not just putting in notes. It's where, I think Alex said this, like, how can I move them on to the next level? Like, I know that this just came in the search, but did you see this one? Just a simple, oh yeah, Minda, I was going to look at it, just to stay top of mind with them. I do like texting some of those like at night, like, hey, did you see this one? This one might be a really good fit. Or I just sent one later last night. They said, we want to kind of look at newer homes. And I said, oh, have you guys thought about, expanding your search a little bit? This is a cute one in Fuquay. Oh, we never thought about Fuquay. Like, that might help us out if we expand our search. So I think the follow-up is key in knowing it's not going to be the same for everyone because it depends where they're at in the process, right? Are they ready to go? Or is it a follow-up where, hey, they need 2 or 3 months and they still need to get their lending? So is it, a follow-up could be, did you get in touch with Sherry, or did you have any questions on that application? I'm just checking in, or.
And I think so much of, and then to correct me if I'm wrong, so much of it is in the mindset of why we're doing it, right? You go back and we talked about onboarding this week. In onboarding, we talked about, you're not doing your KV on your follow-up because you're gonna fly back immediately and they're gonna want to go see a house and you're gonna contract. You're doing the follow-ups when they're ready, you're top of mind. You're doing a follow-up because this is what we need to do to be able to get, because we know 70% of your business this year is going to come from your KV core that goes with you 2 months ago. It just is, the number tell you that's what it is. So it's the mindset. Anthony made call this morning, not because he thought that he was gonna get an appointment, go to listing appointment and find a house for his buyer. If all that happened, fantastic. He was not waiting for his phone to ring. He was trying to connect with other people in the area, and then, hey, maybe he did find somebody, maybe he found somebody for our team and he gave that lead to a team, or whatever the case may be. So much of this follow-up that is day-to-day, I think, has to be our mindset shift. And why are we doing this? To Stephanie's point, they don't care about real estate like we do. This is not their full-time job. She got 17 texts from the hospital about a bill that she needed to pay, and it still took them 9 times or whatever for her to respond to them. And so if we remember why we're doing it, and then like what Tina said, this 2020 Robbins, it's the little things. It's the little incremental things that you guys are doing on a day-to-day basis that's going to cause the big results. And unfortunately, my best real estate agents are also my ones who want immediate gratification. Right? And that's what we immediately want. And every once in a while, we all need that, right? It's nice to get the one and dones, right? But you get those one and dones, and so that way that you learn to follow up with all of the other ones. And so I think you guys have a really good handle on that. Is why I was bringing that up. Do you guys want to respond to that at all? And you had the 1 and 9, or the 1 and 10 was a really aha moment for you at the class.
And I think not only like your follow-up with your Zillow leads, but that C2 is amazing for giving you reminders on your follow-up for your past clients. I am following up with videos all the time with them, and I've one under contract last week with the listing, and oh, Minda, actually, thanks. Can you pull some comps because we're thinking about selling our investment property we bought from you 2 years ago. I mean, yeah, just from a simple, hey, how are you doing? Just thought of you, just wanted to check in, wondering if you have any questions on the market. That's all it was.
And that's now in your KV4, when you come to close, that same CC we just talking about is the same touch for 3 years. You just have to do it. Any other questions about day-to-day business? Mary?
So how do you guys handle if you have like maybe 3 buyers that are like ready, motivated, like writing offers right then, and they're constantly texting you and you're constantly having to reply and show them houses? How do you manage your time to still do your follow-up so that when they go under contract, you have people ready to go? Because I feel like, I don't know if I'm speaking for like the team here, but I feel like sometimes I get so in the weeds of like helping that one buyer find a house that I've forgotten and like people are slipping through the cracks.
You ignore the text when you're working on your follow-up. Like if you get emails or texts, do you ignore them for an hour or 2 while you're doing something else?
I used to not, but Mackenzie trained me to. You stick to your time block, you keep to what you're doing, and they can wait because they don't know that you're in an appointment where you're doing what's important to you at that time. And you had that scheduled, so you gotta you can respond to them really quickly and be like, hey, I got your message. I'll be back with you at this time.
How many of you religiously time block, like actually, and stick to it as much as possible?
Yeah, I do.
It's like, to make this point, it's different every day, right? So the one thing that she does, and that I'll do too, is they look at it that night before, and that's something I still do today. I do not go to bed until I look at my calendar, not to like overwhelm me, but just like, okay, what time, what mind frame do I have to be in for tomorrow? What am I, Tuesdays are our big days, right? So I gotta go to bed extra early and eat my meaties, right? Because I'm performing and I'm doing all this. I'm just saying, like, but again, it gets my mind right that I know that I need to, that's because of what my day is going to look like. And so that seems very consistent with the curriculum, right? That you know what's going ahead and then you block your day due to what's on your calendar. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I mean, there are closings that get set that, you know, that you've got to go to, or you've got to walk through or whatever. So you're going to have those 1 or 2 times where, you know, it may not be ideal or what it is, but just, I always shift it too. Like, okay, so if I had a 10 o'clock closing that we had to do a 9 o'clock walkthrough, I don't go, well, there went my follow-up for the day. I've still got to fit it in, and where now am I going to time block that in? So maybe it wasn't 9 to 11 that day, but now it's going to be 4 to 6 or whatever that time frame was.
And I think that's the big missing here. It doesn't go away. Because then what happens is it gets overwhelming because then you don't do it for a few days, right? And that's what you were talking about, Rachel, right? It doesn't ever go away. If you want your business to be where you want, and that's another thing too. What business do you guys want? Our team goals are based on what you guys want to sell every year. You might not want to sell the 70 homes at minimum sum. That's totally fine. Or the 50 that you want to sell. I mean,
It's okay. It's okay. And I'm on track.
you are. You're on track. Anyway.
But that's the thing. If you like, I don't know, that's my personality and it's not for everybody. Like if you guys were to take me, my brother and sister hate me for this, but if you were to take me to a mountain, I'm going to outwork them and they hate it. And I'm the oldest one and they're like, she won't give up. And it's just it's my personality, and it may not be for everybody, but it's just, I think it kind of flows with the way I do my business.
And I also think it flows for you on your personal life. None of us, we have our own personal lives. And we all have husbands, or we don't, or wives, or young kids, or older kids, or so we have to give ourselves grace, and we're in the season of life that we're in. But that grace is not an excuse to not do what we know that we can do. That makes any sense.
Well, and I think what Minda said too at the end of last year is you have to block out the noise. You have to, whatever your goal is, the person next to you may not have as high of a goal and they have more free time or whatever it is. That's fine. That's their goal. You have to remember what yours is. And it does take a lot of work. Some weeks we are working 80 hours a week, right? I mean, I had friends get mad at me this weekend because I couldn't go to brunch with them and they blew me up all day. But then they see what I do and one of those friends too is under contract right now with me. So I'm not sure what the confusion was, but you know, it's.
You made a hard choice. It's not every time.
You have to sacrifice a lot of the things you want to do. Then also on the other end of that, you know, remember you can still make time for yourself and your family and whatever it is. Like I try to make Mondays my, you know, hopefully I don't have to leave the house. I'm still going to work, but so that I can survive the whole week. So
I love that. One of my favorite quotes is, don't let another person's success get in the way of your own goals. And the whole message to this was there's room on the mountain for everyone. And if you are constantly worried about the person beside you, you are never going to get up there. And so I love that. Like you have to be focused on and where you're going with that. And if you get distracted,
That's on you, right? It's not on the other person who's successful.
yeah. And one of the things that I'd written down when I didn't know what we were talking about was to find, I'm going to find a way to get it in. Find that 1 or 2 people that they're your live or die. They are your support system and they are there for you no matter what. And you can call them and you know that they're going to be there for you. So have somebody that is here that can be that support system for you, because they want to help you succeed. They want to see you succeed. So know who that is and lean on them for support. Would you guys agree?
yeah.
Sophia, I could have ignored you. Go.
Well, I like how we talked about all mindset stuff. This isn't really mindset. This is kind of going back to day-to-day working with clients and everything.
Linda, I know you are utilizing the strategy sessions for, to lead the conversation into buyer's agency. So I wanted to get some insight kind of from all of you guys on, especially because you're probably writing the contracts right away. Like, what is that conversation? Is that a combination within that conversation, or is that kind of separate?
You're right. I mean, it is pretty self-explanatory. To get buyer agency?
Yes, yeah.
I don't get buyer agency until I'm writing an offer on the house. And I probably shouldn't do it that way, but I trust people that I'm working with, and I only want to work with people that want to work with me. And I kind of have like that intuition, like this person's gonna never speak to me again after the first show. So I'm not gonna force them to sign something to work with me. If they want to work with me, they're gonna sign it willingly to write an offer. Yes. Yeah, and I kind of touch on.
So they
it,
can
like,
ask questions, yeah, exactly.
And then you send those documents with your offer to purchase, so they can sign everything at once, basically.
Yes.
After sure you're looking real estate, though, which you're working with real estate, right?
Yeah, it's in the packet and I touch on it. And I let them know when the time comes for them to make an offer, like, this is your hard copy, but everything's gonna be electronically. But a lot of people like to have that hard copy so they can feel it, touch it, sniff it, that sort of thing.
I know people like to sniff things.
Rachel,
My
It's on
signature
my body.
Privacy.
Maybe that was too
We
far.
have way too much here. Rachel, what do you guys do?
Well, again, I don't like to push things on people, so I feel weird about that, right? The team I started with, they were like, take your packet, make them sign at your first showing, and then have a buyer consultation and whatever it is. I found that weird. It's not me. So I usually wait too, unless they ask for it first, and then I'll send it. Have I been burned by that a few times? Yes. But I've also had a few people that do sign it and then end up, 6 months later going and buying with someone else. So that's just kind of how I personally like to do it, because I don't like to shove it on people.
Linda?
Very, very similar. But I do ask for their loyalty, and I just let them know that my time is valuable, and I just ask them to be loyal back. But same thing, I don't want to handcuff them to a contract. I want them to want to work with me. I don't know if you guys plug into the mastermind, but yesterday, one of the big discussions was that loyalty agreement, and it was more of a toned down version. I think that's why I don't like ours, because it's so contractual. When I explain it, I let them know it's just more of a loyalty agreement, and it gives me permission to write the offer on their behalf. But, basically I ask for their loyalty up front. So.
What, that same call, I always thought of what would be neat was to kind of have 10 points and in a Caul Group branded thing of, this is what, you're not gonna sign this, but this is basically the, the for dummies version of the buyer agency. And it all is the points that protects them as the consumer and as the buyer, and almost show them that, use that as our document. And then when it's, and if you get them to sign it, great, but if not, it just seems a little bit more, less, like you said, formal. This is what it says in layman's terms, basically, and this is what you'll need to sign. But that, when they were talking about that, I like that there was like a little pamphlet of the buyer agency, right?
Yeah, I think it would be good, because it was more just a loyalty agreement. And, I think sometimes it's scary when they see that 6% or whatever is on there and they think they're going to buy it. Even one person yesterday on the call said that they had an explanation on their loyalty agreement of what that is. So I always just explain that. But if you're just pushing that in front and you're not taking the time to explain that, it is going to seem very.
And as agents, have you ever read it? Why don't you read it yourself and you take out the 10 points that you understand to explain, that you could then turn around and explain to a potential client too.
Yes, I actually have another question. That's okay. Kind of going back to time blocking, I'll notice like in the mornings, like 8:30, I'll start getting texts about like a property that like a client has seen or something that they want to go and view. And I know Meredith was kind of talking about this too. Like, I don't want to come across as I'm not responsive, And so like even saying like, oh, I'll get back to you, whatever, like we don't even really have that time right now. So like, what are you finding that works so that way we can like get back on track and everything? And assist those clients as well. Or does that happen to you? Like, you set up your time in a way or your days in a way that won't happen?
So if somebody texts me at 8:30 in the morning and I know that I'm trying, so that goes back to Minda. So, somebody texts me at 8:30 and you know that you have to get in this house at 9, the rest of your schedule is, if you're only trying to be able to get in this at 9 o'clock, well, then maybe you're gonna get the house at 9, but you're not gonna skip over everything else that you know you have to get done that day. Because in my world, whatever I don't get done today automatically goes to Wednesday. I sure as hell don't want to put my Tuesday stuff in my Wednesday, so I can promise you my Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are already full. Right, so that was my mindset, so you might have to do that because the time that we're in, we all have to adjust and to adapt to the environment that we're working in. So go to the house at 9, come back to the office, go back to the house, whatever you're supposed to do, finish up your calls for the rest of the day. Or if you can, thank you so much for reaching out. I have 2 and 4 available. Which one works for you? We're afraid to give them our options because we're afraid they're going to say no. I can only do it at 11. Is 11 the only? Can I ask why 11 is the only time? Again, we're afraid to ask those, we're afraid to push back, and that's a confidence thing. I was right there too. When my time got so much more scrunched, like Minda's is, it's much easier to be like, I literally have 2 and 4 o'clock here, that's it, right? And so whenever you have that, and then all of a sudden, they're like, okay, she only has 2 and 4. Maybe she doesn't know what she's doing. Maybe she is not just a broker. Maybe she is an advisor, right? And it's a mindset shift for them.
Yeah, I just always fear that they found the property before I even found it. Like, are you guys searching the MLS in the morning, so before you are going out and working at the time?
When I would say there's some, oh, awesome, thank you so much for sending this to me. You want to go see it at 2 o'clock? I wouldn't even acknowledge that they saw before me.
You know,
Nobody got mad at me. I was just like, fantastic. I was
I know.
sometimes
sometimes
they're not on the search that you have them on, or
Yeah.
they said they want to be in Fuquay and now they're looking in like Florida.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Or
true.
unless you beat, how about this? You beat me to it. I was getting ready to text you.
Oh, I've used that one before.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh,
fine.
my gosh, you're
oh my
right.
God. I actually think people are.
So glad you saw that.
Yeah.
I'll say good find for the next mission.
Yeah.
Usually it is like a different type of bath or bedroom count or whatever.
It doesn't make you any less of a good agent.
No.
This is their sole job. It's this one house that they're looking for. This is what they're doing 24/7. You hopefully work with multiple people. Don't feel bad that they got it for
Always
you.
expand what they say, like you don't always be in their box, you go outside the box all the time. Because they will leave you for something else, and they will realize they're not finding what they want, and then they'll all of a sudden be somewhere else, so you have to always.
Yeah, like Linda said, hey, I know you're not looking at Fuquay, but did you see this house? Oh, we never thought of Fuquay. Yeah. Anything else that you guys, because the whole point of this was just to, how can we, take some tips and tricks from them, or maybe this was just a good reminder of things that we said we were going to do in January, right? So in the last month already, the first quarter, that's crazy to me, right? And so we've got this whole quarter here. Allison, I think, posted that January 1st can be any day you want it to be. So why can't March 1st day be your January 1st of what you thought you were going to be able to accomplish in January, February? You've got 31 days. Right? It only takes 21 days to create a new habit. So we are still have so much time. So if you didn't get a tidbit maybe from them, maybe you got something like, you know what? Yeah, Mackenzie, or Trevor, Precious is what I need to do to help move the needle forward. And the one thing that I'm hearing from all of you though is it's just a little bit of hard work. Right? That's
Just a little.
just a little, right? Like,
Great.
right? Like what? Yeah, it's hashtag CG Life. You're taking the courage to go outside and call people you don't want to, right? The grit, doing what people don't know what you're doing when you're out behind, right? When no one sees you. Your leadership, you're taking that ownership with your clients to show that confidence, right? You're implementing strategies to build your business. You're failing forward. The one thing the three of you always do too is call. You call people. You call me or you call people on the team. You haven't sold too many houses to know that you still can't reach out to other people and ask for advice or for help. We should never sell too many homes or make too much money that we're not leaning on this amazing team of minds that we have. And then what else? We're evolving. Sorry, I'm trying to think of what the last one I'm on. So I hope you guys found this beneficial and very helpful, that they're here to help and serve you. Every single one of them would pick up their phone and call to help them with their question.
And something that might help with your follow-up is like categorizing. I've been thinking about it. I categorize like who I'm gonna call. So whether it's my sphere, whether it's my nurtures that are, 2 to 3 months out, just check in and touch them, stay top of mind. Or categorize, I'm gonna call all my ready now buyers and just touch base with them. So I think that's another thing that I also do, just categorize who I'm gonna follow up with on that day, and then kind of just alternate. So you don't
Making
need
the
to,
same kind of calls.
yeah,
What is this overwhelming? Monday's my sphere, Tuesday's my past client, Wednesday's my, well, you should call it your hot and ready to update, but anyway. But that's your.
Also, just a quick question. Do you guys have like a, kind of like a mental, number that you kind of limit yourself to? Like if you're working with active clients, do you say, okay, right at this moment, I'm working with 3 active buyers or 4 active buyers? I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of calls. It's a lot of driving around. Do you kind of, like, 'cause I know Mackenzie was saying with the Zillow Flex, the calls can be fast and furious sometimes. And sometimes people will say, pause me. You know, right now I've got 5 people I'm working with and right now I just need to focus on these 5. Do you kind of have that, or you just try to shuffle through it as it comes?
I don't have it.
None of them have.
No.
You just, whatever
No.
comes your way, you're willing to jump on it and
Find a way to do it.
Yeah.
find a way to figure out.
Yeah,
I guess
you
with
gotta-
having somebody else help you show, right? Show homes, like you, I know you have an assistant to help show, like open the doors. That probably helps a lot, frees up some of your time.
Do you find that it's getting a little bit, so even like a year ago or 6 months ago, we were able to get those buyers under contract a little faster, so we didn't have as many. Where now we've got more, and I'll be so, I've got to get this one under contract so I can make room. It is a little bit of a juggling with that because we have
Yeah.
more than we had a year ago. Wouldn't you guys say, like,
yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, some take up a little more space, and this goes back to Meredith's question of how do you handle those people? I have one guy right now who, I'm not kidding you, calls me 6 times a day for a quick call, and it's 20 minutes, and it's the same conversation we had earlier. It's the literal same question, same conversation. We finally went under contract this weekend, and he's calling me at 7:30 yesterday morning. I said, decline. But nothing you're calling me for right now needs to be answered in this moment.
Right.
So you kind of, yeah, some do take up more space than others, but
It's a nice way to put it.
My way to cut off a call with those people.
Your 40th birthday, or 30th birthday.
If I ever tell you that,
No, let's hear that.
your attorney's always calling. Oh my God, my attorney's calling. I have to go.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a
should
sec.
start
And you just hang up on them. I gotta go. I'm so sorry. My attorney's calling. It's okay. My
this,
attorney's always.
this same guy called last Saturday, 9:30. Hey, can I call you? I said, no, I'm out to dinner with friends. Oh, can you call me when you leave? No, sir. The only person I'm calling is my pillow when I leave here. So no, like you have to set some kind of boundary.
Yes,
Did you say no? and say-
Let's
Yeah, I'm not calling you at midnight.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I'm very bad at midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not. To answer your same 20 questions I already answered 4 times today, no, that's just not gonna happen. But so yes, some take up way more space, but no, I don't think there's a limit of, yeah, you can pause yourself and don't, go out searching for extra if you feel like that month I sold 11. In no way was I waking up in the morning thinking, I need to find another client.
Right, exactly. I don't know how you do that.
So,
For
you know.
me, just mentally to keep organized, paperwork and things you have to do. I mean, the time blocking is great. But on my mind, I'm a thinker. My mind just keeps going. What can I do? What can I do? And so I think that it gets overwhelming to think about dealing with, I mean, I'm not right now, but if I get to the point where I'm dealing with 3, 4, 5 clients that are actively showing and you're writing offers and you're trying to get all your paperwork done. I mean, it just seems overwhelming. I don't know how you did that 1 month though, I swear.
I'm still recovering.
Oh my God.
It was 6 months ago.
That's insane.
What? Rachel did 11. I did 10, I think. But I think that month mine was half.
Who's
listing
counting?
price. This is my, I always have a notebook, always have a notebook. Like here's my 8 people that have texted me that I haven't gotten back to since this morning. Like, so I don't forget because, yeah, because I'll read that text and be like, I don't have time to deal with that. It just goes on.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'll forget, right? So I always have a
I
notebook.
write everything down old school that way.
Yeah, I used to use notebooks, but then I would find that I was the wrong place. So, thanks to Asana, which I recently learned about, it's in your phone, and it's the same thing, right? And then you can just move it along and whatever.
And then your assistant can look at it.
Yeah, and she's in it, and I go, here, like, I can assign those tasks to her, or whatever it is.
You know, it's the only thing I wanted to say to you before you close is maybe this client that you're servicing, that you have on the contract, really kind of write down what you're doing in your day. Like, so see how you're servicing, and see if that can be a service that somebody else can do, or maybe we can't set some boundaries. Right, so because you're working with one should not be taking away from your business, from trying to work the other three. Or just kind of again to the point, have that confidence to set that boundary, especially with a contract. Like, all right, I get it, like maybe I get it when, we're trying to find a house fit, and have that honest conversation. I'm just still at the same time energy into you, that, I work with more than one client. And just kind of setting those boundaries, but maybe really try to write down, you have a particularly, needy client. And then maybe they'll teach you, like, I really could tell them this to do this, or I can do a different time. And that might help too. This was very helpful, even just for me. Victoria, do you have anything to add, anything to share from your work with resident of being for years and years and years?
I mean, no, I think the boundaries is the biggest thing, and then just time blocking. You have to set that time aside to go in your kitty corner. If you're not following up, and how with all the leads, I couldn't imagine the amount of leads that y'all are getting now, because we didn't have that. How you have to have some sort of system to stay on top of them.
Yes, Mike.
Something that I think they all said, and we see in all these mastermind trainings that we're on, is before you start tomorrow, take a look at tomorrow, like that night before. Like, all these mastermind things we say, but don't wake up and be like, okay, well, what do I need to do today? At least go into the day having looked at it the night before. We see across the board.
I actually I have an alarm that goes off on my phone at 9 o'clock every night, and it says update CSU. Do you do that?
Follow her lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying, I may have to change the ring so it like reminds, because you get a little used to it, but it will be like, oh yeah, I didn't do that yet. So it's just a good reminder.
I was every day at 5, because I used to, that's when I would pick up our daughter. So I knew I was kind of doing something, and so it's 5 o'clock.
Does anyone have something on their phone, like maybe Rachel, this is a good for your guy, like your voicemail says, if you're receiving this message after blank time, mine was always 6:30 to 7, so 7 o'clock I think is good. After 7 p.m., I will call you the next business day. So your day ends at 7, like a normal human. And then you can email, right, for an emergency, please email or text, but at this point, it's not an emergency. So maybe you add that to your voicemail.
Yeah.
Lock in my text after a certain second.
I've been ignoring Brandon because he's behind me.
Is there something for the do not
Yeah,
disturb it?
my phone at 8:45 during the week shuts down to sleep, and then at like 10:30 goes to do not disturb.
TikTok /
So then like they see
your time loss.
Right. Yeah.
I have cold calls and texts and DMs in my Instagram from my people who are following me about your time blocking thing, asking me if I time block on my team. That was a mandatory thing. So thankfully, I do. So yeah, so I sent screenshots of my calendar. But what with Minda's schedule going all the way till 11 o'clock, I wouldn't be able to function that way. And I think we get 3 different pictures of functionality for 40 plus transactions up there, which I think that's my takeaway from this. There's multiple ways of doing this. But one of the people that sent me a DM about it is like a 70 plus person who doesn't time block. And yeah, so when she saw mine, I time block from 2:30 to 6 is my showings, like out and about. So if I'm not showing, I'm trying to drive neighborhoods that I don't know yet. It's work for the knowledge is currency part. And that like blew her mind because she had never blocked client specific in front, FaceTime with clients at a particular time. She was just doing it whenever they were available. She never set those boundaries. She was telling me her life story on this. I maybe talked to her once.
And that's when you invite her to our.
Yes.
Yes.
Immediately
Immediately.
did.
But
Right.
that's the thing, that's normal. that's,
Right.
nobody teaches this. I mean, maybe they screwed over it, but I have never met a top performer of anything that didn't have like everything, everything, like when they go to the bathroom, and when they eat their lunch, and when they, because how do you maximize your time if it's just letting the day happen to you? Every day is gonna look different. How can I ever know how efficient I'm gonna be if I don't know what I'm doing every day? So it was for 5 years, that's 7:30 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, and 1 to beyond. And so that kept me sane.
Also highly recommend being at all the trainings that our team does, because I
Good
feel like
flush, definitely.
I'm trying to get up on the list.
Are you talking about what? Are you like? Chimes.
highly encouraged. I mean, I feel like I'm at the majority of all the trainings, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Friday. I time block to be there because it's important. You gain knowledge and wisdom and take away nuggets every single time. And I mean, we have probably the greatest trainings in America.
Yeah, he wants to be mom's favorite.
Going down.
Look at you, Mom, look at me.
Mom, I did my homework.
I know.
So it's gonna be one in the group.
Look at this stat though, we have 10,000 agents between Honey Badger, Freedom Builder, and Passport Movement. And every Monday, there's 350 people on that call. Where's everyone else, right? I mean, think about like, and the people that show up are the ones that don't need to be there. Like, they're making all the money. So where's everyone else, right? Everyone else is hectic and they're not cutting out time for their knowledge base. And that's the big thing.
And if that time doesn't work, I mean, you can always, they're recorded in the Fast Forward Movement group, so you could literally take a day that you don't have a lot and just watch it on.
Yeah, and these guys have so much training, like, you don't, I'm using it as an example, you don't even need to be on there. 'cause
I'm just saying.
maybe Mom and dad give so much training, but the point is, I always go, where is everybody? Like, where are all these other team leaders? I look for my leaders in other states, I'm like, where's Cassie? Not on there, but she's calling every week complaining about her team or things breaking. I'm like, I'm on these calls, like, where are you? So yes, that's a great point.
So I got the red ocean and blue ocean. I'm like.
I know that was so
using
good.
that at the meeting
So good.
tomorrow. We did- Are you in the blue ocean and or the red ocean?
Well, I hope that I'm in.
I'm in the red. So that time to be in the blue right now.
She's in the blue.
Yeah.
Swimming towards my blue ocean.
That's right.
All right, well, thank you for this, really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.